Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining this call today and being open to learning. Rachel and I are so excited that you're joining us so that we can share our knowledge and experience with this revolutionary phototherapy patch that we were just introduced to about 5 months ago now. I am Beth Blackmore, a health and empowerment coach. I started my own health journey about 5 years ago, changing my food choices, my lifestyle habits. I lost 60 pounds in the process, and this was really the beginning of my conscious awakening. I ended up leaving my government career due to the unjust mandates to pursue my passion in helping people find their own inner power. As a former conformist, I am constantly learning, unlearning, relearning. I'm open to new information and embracing change. Most recently, I started learning about quantum biology, circadian rhythm, really harnessing the power of light, waking up with the sun, eating within an hour of waking, blocking blue light at night. And I feel that embracing this power of light is the next phase of my health journey, of my evolution. So when Rachel mentioned that she was curious about learning more about this X39 light patch, I knew that I needed to give it the proper attention. As an MD, I knew that Rachel would be able to ask all the smart questions, understand the technology behind this patch. So I invited Rachel on a call with Diane, who's also on this Zoom today, and we were both blown away with the information you're about to hear about the company Lifewave, the inventor behind it, and the life-changing testimonials. As coaches, as healers, as light workers in this world of deceit and corruption, we know that people could really benefit from this healing modality by helping to support the body do what it does best, which is heal. So we pretty much signed up on the spot. We put our first order in and we did what any good daughter would do. We patched our moms. My mom had been experiencing knee pain, discomfort for many years, and within a few days of using this patch, my mom's knee pain had diminished significantly. The physiotherapist she was seeing twice a week noticed more mobility, less inflammation. She wanted to know what she was using, what vitamins, what supplements she was taking. She said she was using this light patch that her daughter put on her. My mom, who's 77 years old, also noticed increased energy, more stamina during the day, getting back to her regular walks, gardening, swimming. She started sleeping better, deeper sleep. I've also experienced better quality of sleep, sleeping through the night, vivid dreams, which is unheard of for me. Then I realized that this lower back pain, this compression issue that I had experienced for years, was alleviated within a week or so just by using the patch. And what fires me up is knowing that the best is yet to come. My body is healing, it's repairing, it's age reversing, as you will soon discover. And I am excited about the big, thick mane of hair that's coming after some significant hair loss over the last few years. So before we dive into this formal part of this presentation, I'd love to invite my friend and health practitioner, Rachel Maurice, who's co-hosting with me today, to introduce herself and share her inspiring journey with you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us here. Time is our most precious commodity, so I truly appreciate you taking that to spend it with us. So, as Beth said about this light technology, it's interesting. I had heard about this about a year and a half ago, but I really didn't investigate any further. And what had happened with me is about 4 years ago, in 2020, I actually left my career as an anesthesiologist, which I had spent 20 years practicing. And I started, as Beth also said, unlearning and relearning actually what it means what it means to be healthy. Because in medicine, we're actually taught about disease processes and not actual true health. I came across this neurosurgeon, a US neurosurgeon, Dr. Jack Kruse, and what he was talking about was truly life transforming. I had not heard about this anywhere in my medical education, but he was talking about light and the power of light being the driver of our physiology and our health. And that really started to crumble the foundation of everything I had learned and everything I knew about how I was working in my medical career. And what I discovered upon implementing the strategies that he was sharing was that a lot of the issues that I had been struggling with actually started to fade. And so I started diving really deep into light. And again, as Beth said, quantum biology, learning about what's going on at the small scale beneath the biochemistry. And then this light patch once again came across my purview, and the timing of it was such that it was just perfect timing because my mom's health was starting to fail. She was not in good health to begin with, but it was really taking a downturn. And because of that and learning about what these patches, as you'll come to learn in the presentation, it was a no-brainer for me to get her started on them. And because she started on them, I wanted to start on them because I didn't want to just be using her as a guinea pig. However, because they were really safe and there was no downside, it was really something that I had to give it a go. And yeah, you'll learn more as we go on with the presentation. I'll turn that back over to you, Beth.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so I am going to share my screen and let me know once you can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up once you see it there. All good? Okay, you can see the presentation. It's okay, perfect. Okay, so the question for you is, are you ready to learn how to activate your body's own healing with the power of the patch? And this isn't just any patch. What makes this patch so unique is that it activates your body's natural healing abilities by harnessing your own light, and it empowers your body to do what it does best, which is heal. Okay, so I want to say at the outset that while you're going to hear some fascinating information today, it's important to note that what we are discussing is not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. This is not a medical device that requires FDA approval. What we're sharing is a wellness technology product. Everything we talk about today will focus on general wellness, addressing symptoms and experiences in our body rather than specific diseases. So, talking about addressing symptoms and what ails you, are you feeling older and frustrated that your body and your mind aren't functioning like they used to? Does it feel like you've hit a wall, that it's all downhill from here? Low energy, inflammation, mobility issues, are they stopping you from living your best life? So imagine for a second if you could feel more energized, keep up with the kids, keep up with the grandkids, think clearly, stay focused without feeling mentally drained, move freely without pain, enjoy physical activities with ease. Or maybe you want to up-level your physical game, build lean, strong muscles and bones. How about enjoying a calmer, more balanced life without feeling stressed or revved up all the time? What about deep, solid sleep where you wake up in the same position that you fell asleep in? And on top of all that, who wouldn't want to age gracefully? Regrow your hair, your natural hair color, reclaim smoother, more youthful skin. Maybe no more, maybe not being so reliant on your reading glasses, right, Diane? So imagine if you could reverse the aging process. So it's important to acknowledge how we got here and understand the natural aging process, especially when we are bombarded with modern lifestyle and constant exposure to toxins. So the chemicals in our food, in the air, in the water, even radiation from our devices. Over time, this leads to cellular dysfunction, making it harder for our bodies to repair and regenerate. So saying all this, stem cells are the body's repair system, replacing old damaged cells. They act as the baby cells that replace the old dying cells. They become your heart cells, your skin cells, your brain cells. But unfortunately, as we age, these stem cells mutate. They go dormant. They cause the wrinkles, the gray hair, the body aches, the organ challenges, and impacts our overall health and well-being. By the time we are 30 years old, 60% of those healthy stem cells have already gone dormant. By 60 years of age, a staggering 90% of these crucial cells are inactive. So now, full disclosure, 5 months ago, I really didn't fully grasp how vital stem cells are. I had heard of stem cell therapy, risky, invasive, expensive, with only about 50% effectiveness. People spend thousands on red and blue light saunas for their regenerative effects, often paying upwards of 10 grand. But this is where stem cell regeneration becomes exciting and why the phototherapy patch is such a powerful option. While many regenerative treatments aren't accessible for most people, Lifewave patches offer an affordable, non-invasive alternative to reactivate dormant stem cells through phototherapy. So activating healing with light or phototherapy is nothing new. It's been around since the dawn of time. We all know that the sun is a form of phototherapy, signaling our bodies to make vital vitamin D. But photobiomodulation is a type of light therapy that uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cells, boosting energy production that promotes healing. This process enhances cellular function, reduces inflammation, improves blood flow, and supports tissue repair. Best of all, it's non-invasive. It offers a natural way to improve overall health. Now, what if I told you that there was a product, one that uses this very technology of photobiomodulation to reflect your body's own infrared light, stimulating a specific naturally occurring copper peptide? Well, that's exactly what the X39 patch does, using our body's own infrared light to stimulate the production of GHK-Cu peptide. This is known as the holy grail of age reversal. This X39 patch, which happens to be the inventor David Schmidt's 39th invention, it naturally increases the production of GHK-Cu. This is a powerful peptide. It's naturally found in our bodies. It's a universal copper peptide that functions in many areas of our body. But how do we know the incredible benefits of this specific copper peptide? Thanks to Lauren Picard, PhD researcher who first isolated it back in 1973. So there's 50 years of research to back it up. You can access all these studies on pubmed.gov, which is an online repository of scientific research. So we know that GHK-Cu does some amazing things. It stimulates blood vessel and nerve outgrowth. It boosts collagen and elastin production. It has multiple anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, anti-pain, and even anti-cancer properties. It's capable of resetting 4,000 genes in our genome, essentially resetting and repairing DNA to a younger, healthier state. But here's the clincher. The GHK-Cu reactivates dormant stem cells, effectively reversing the aging process. So how does this little patch increase GHK-Cu? Now that you understand the power of the peptide, let me introduce you to the power of this patch. So Lifewave X39 is a small wearable phototherapy patch. It's about the size of a quarter. It's designed to enhance energy, strength, wellness, and athletic performance. Developed by David Schmidt, the founder of Lifewave, this unique and patented product represents cutting-edge regenerative technology. The X39 operates through the process of photobiomodulation, so using your body's own infrared heat to activate a crystallized lattice of organic materials, including amino acids, sugars, water, oxygen, salt. This lattice reflects specific light frequencies back into the body, signaling biological changes at the cellular level and targeting the root cause of imbalances and cellular dysfunction. The patches are latex-free, non-transdermal. They contain no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, making them safe to use without interfering with any medication. So there's no contraindications because nothing is being absorbed into your skin. So in essence, the X39 is an exciting, affordable tool for overall health and wellness, like an advanced form of phototherapy. Okay, so I am going to pass the reins over to Rachel now, our resident doctor and our light expert, to share the benefits of the X39.
Whoa. Oh. So before I talk about this slide here, I just want to take a step back and talk about light and phototherapy and how this works, because this is something, again, that's not widely known. Even in the medical profession, it's only just getting a foot in the door. And most of us know that when we step outside and we get the ultraviolet light, we're told, spend about 20 minutes outside, have that light hit your skin, and then you're making vitamin D. The other thing is that we can tangibly understand when we go outside and we access that vitamin D as well, we get a tan, or not vitamin D, sorry, ultraviolet light. We get a tan in our skin. So the light signals special cells in our skin to produce that biochemical, that peptide that makes the color of the tan. The other thing in the medical profession, for anyone who's been through that or has had to access it, sometimes we know that some babies are born and they are jaundiced. They have this yellow color tinge to their skin. And what we do in medicine and in the hospitals is actually use a type of light therapy to help break down those chemicals and allow them to be excreted from the body. So those are just some ways that we can tangibly understand that light does have a biological effect in our bodies. The other thing that's not very well known, and that's tied very intimately to this particular phototherapy patch is the fact that it uses our own light that we produce. Now, most people are unaware that we actually produce light because we don't see light being emitted from our bodies. So it's actually one of the non-visible light spectrums that we emit. We emit infrared light. So it's a type of light, but we normally understand it and think of it as heat. So this infrared heat, we can think of synonymously as infrared light. And our energy factories in our body actually produce this infrared light and heat. And so that is what is being used or being harnessed by these patches for us to use in our bodies. We also produce another type of light, an ultra low frequency, ultraviolet light, but that's not something that we're going to discuss here. So I just wanted to make sure people understood that light really does have an effect and give a little bit more of an understanding and basis for why this is such an incredible technology. So the benefits of this X39 patch are such that it helps with reducing inflammation and pain. It can help improve strength, stamina, and energy levels. And one of the ways that it does this is, again, using our light, but affecting and targeting our mitochondria, which are the, most people understand as the powerhouses or energy factories. They do so much more, but that's what we're taught in school. As well, it improves muscle and bone density, improves mental clarity and reduces stress, balances hormones and eases anxiety, can also improve hair growth and skin appearance. And one of the things that has to do with this hair growth and skin appearance is that the GHKCU that Beth has talked about is so powerful. And one of the things it does is it increases our collagen production. Now, most of us think of collagen having to do with hair and skin and nails and such, but it is actually so much more and so much more vital to our health. It's actually found in abundance throughout our fascia, which is basically the network that holds all of our organs in place and our vessels, our cardiovascular system. And so there is so much more to collagen than just to do with hair growth and skin appearance. It also promotes cellular repair and wound healing. And that was actually one of the first research discoveries that was found with GHKCU, was that it increased wound healing to a significant degree. It also improves sleep quality. And so really it's working throughout the entire body. And the way that it does this, actually, again, to emphasize what Beth said, is it resets over 4,000 genes in our genome. So what does that actually mean? With the Human Genome Project in the early 2000s, we discovered that we only have about 20,000 genes in our genome, despite having about 140 to 160,000 proteins that are produced. We only have about 20,000 genes. Now, resetting over 4,000 is a massive amount. Most people have heard about, or I shouldn't say it that way, most people. A lot of people have heard about the benefits of red wine and the chemical in the red wine being resveratrol, and it's even packaged up into supplements, and you can go buy a bottle of resveratrol to take. Now, the hype about resveratrol is that it actually resets 2 genes in our genome. So imagine all of that hype about resveratrol and wine and creating a supplement for resetting 2 genes. Now we're talking about a technology that resets over 4,000 genes. So that is quite staggering. And these genes upregulate certain proteins, downregulate other proteins. And this is where we get these benefits and effects that I just talked about. Next slide, please. All right, so as far as the long-term results from the X39, so this resetting of the genes actually starts within the first few days. But just like most things that we take or do, for example, exercise or even any supplements or holistic therapies, we don't necessarily see the effects immediately. So despite not seeing them, they are still happening. And it takes time. So over 4,000 genes begin to reset within the first few days. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced, and I can actually attest to that personally. Within 3 months, you have an increase in collagen production. And I touched on collagen earlier. Within 6 months, the heart reverses in age. Now, this is a big one. And this is the reason that I actually started investigating and got my mom on these, because of her heart problem. She's got a whole host of them, which I'll talk to in the testimonials. But this was the big impetus for me. And that's a big deal. And again, I'm not going to steal Diane's thunder here because she'll talk about it. But Diane was the one who, Diane had a career in cardiac surgical nursing for 20 years. And she told me some of the stories when I was getting involved of what was taking place with patients' hearts in the last year and a half that she's been with the company that she had never seen in her entire career. And I believe it based on what I have seen in my entire career in traditional medicine. And it was things that were just not seen at all in conventional medicine. So it was extremely powerful to hear. So, and as David Schmidt says, this is not about anti-aging, it's actually age reversal. So how to wear this patch? It's actually really simple. And this is I would say, one of the main benefits for a lot of people to jump in, because it doesn't take any time out of your day. You don't have to make any extra effort. You can actually just put a timer on your phone, set it, put the patch on in the morning. You wear it for 12 hours. You have another timer of when to take it off. And I say that because a lot of times people forget. And even 5 months in, sometimes I still forget. So you take it off at the end of the day, you throw it away. Or what you can do if you don't want to throw it away is there's a little bit of life left in it. You can put it on a collar and put it on your pet, which is what I do with my dog. Or you can put it in a plant, which I still haven't done yet. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try that. And yet then you put one on the next day and you repeat. And you want to make sure that you drink plenty of water and electrolytes. So just drinking water we all know that we are made up of 60 to 80% water by weight, but we are actually 99% water by molecular count. So 99 out of 100 molecules in our body are water. Now, it's really, I'll explain why water is so important. But one of the things about water is most people think that you can hydrate yourself just by drinking enough water. So that is not true. You actually need water with electrolytes and minerals to hold that water in the body. Otherwise, you would just be, if you're peeing every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you're actually just flushing that water through your body. You're not holding on to any of it. So the electrolytes actually aid in holding that water into your body, but also bringing it into the extracellular space. And some of it helps pull water into the cells. The reason that the water is so important is that this technology and light especially works through the water network of the body. So you need to have plenty of water for the light to communicate to all parts of the body. So if you don't have enough water, then it does not work as efficiently or as well. We also want to make sure that we have foods high in copper, as this patch and the light technology works through this specific copper peptide. So we need to have copper in our body. The best way to do that is through our diet. However, modern agriculture is such that we have less and less copper in our foods. And so we just want to make sure that we are looking at getting really copper-rich foods in our diet. Now, at the top of the list for copper-rich foods are not really ones that I am keen on. I know lots of people are able to do this, but organ meats are really where you get a lot of copper. You even have double the amount of copper than iron in organ meats. So what I do with my kids is actually give them a supplement of desiccated, so dried organ meats, because that's the only way I can get them in with them. But the next one is oysters. So if you like oysters, then that's a wonderful one, not just for copper, for so many other reasons, which I'm not going to go into, but oysters are really a superfood. Then for those of us that don't like the oysters or the organ meats, shellfish is high in copper, avocados, nuts and seeds. So nuts in particular, cashews are at the top of the list, seeds like sunflower seeds. And then probably everyone's favorite would be a little piece of dark chocolate. But then again, just a little piece has enough copper for the day. You don't have to eat the whole bar, which often I would end up doing, but yeah, we just need a little piece of dark chocolate to get the amount of copper we need for the day. All right, next slide. So what to expect? So this is a big one here because society has conditioned us and modern medicine has conditioned us to expecting results overnight. We take a pill, we see changes. We have a surgery, we see changes immediately. And so without even realizing it, we expect things to happen very quickly. And I just want to, the reason I'm talking about this is I want to emphasize here that although a lot of people might think that we get sick or that they have sickness show up suddenly, it actually takes us decades for us to become ill. It's kind of like the iceberg where you only see the iceberg kind of poking through the water, the tip of the water. That would be like when symptoms start to appear. But imagine there is that whole iceberg underneath the water that is not seen. Now we are very resilient. Our bodies are incredible. So we can deal with a lot of damage without actually having those symptoms show up. And again, the reason I'm emphasizing this is it takes time for healing to happen. With this patch, we are enhancing our body's own healing mechanisms, but it still takes time. So every single person is different. They have accrued a different amount of damage. They've had a different number of years on this planet. They've had different environments that they have been living in. So we are all different and we will all have different timing for what issues will change. The other thing is the body knows best. The body is extremely wise. And so although we may be using this patch in particular for a specific issue, that might not be the issue that gets resolved first. You might be wanting to get rid of your headache. You might be wanting to have your skin appearance look nicer or, gut issues go away, but your body might have a different idea of what needs working on first. So before that knee gets fixed, you might have to work on your gut. You might have to work on your heart. You might have to work on your brain. So it might actually take a lot longer to get that knee fixed or that headache to go away. And rather than thinking about things as diseases like modern medicine does, we look at things more when it comes to specific issues like symptoms and what's actually happening in your body. Like I talked about aches in your body, discomfort or headaches or digestive issues, because really fundamentally it comes down to cellular dysfunction. We don't have to worry about all those 36,000 diseases that medicine has told us about. It is where the cells are dysfunctional that we express these symptoms, and the patch goes and works on the cellular level. So if you are tired, this also means that the patches are working because it requires energy to heal. Most of us actually don't have enough energy. Just like a cell phone, you need a full battery in your cell phone to have all of the functions of the cell phone working. You need a full battery in your body to have all of the functions in your body working. Most of us actually don't have a full complement of battery in our body. So the more energy that we bring in, the more we can function, but it also is required for healing. So that energy might be telling your body to slow down, or the patches might be telling your body to slow down because that energy is being siphoned to healing. So you want to make sure that you take the rest and you allow yourself to rest, and feeling tired is completely normal. And that means the patches and your body are working at healing. So you want to make sure to get extra sleep because that's part of resting. And you also want to make sure you practice deep breathing to allow more of that oxygen to come into your body, to allow your mitochondria to make more of that energy that can go towards the healing. Next slide. So here we have a slide about real results, and we're going to talk about results afterwards as well, but these are good visuals to see. So on the left-hand side, we were talking about hair growth before. I know Beth was talking about hair growth as well. Here you can see on the left-hand side, the picture where the man has you can see the skin, the scalp through the hair. And then on the right-hand side, you can see, I don't know the timeline of this, but you can definitely see that there is a lot more hair regrowth and you don't see the scalp through as easily anymore. And on the bottom left-hand side, you can see it a lot more. It's a lot more prominent there. There's actually, it looks like almost like a bald spot. And then the other one on the right-hand side, it looks to me that they're showing the picture of the gray hair in that hairline. And then on the right-hand side, you don't see that gray anymore. And I think, I don't know the timeline of this. It's probably written in the text there, but I don't actually know the timeline of this. But here we can see on the right-hand side, the scoliosis. So what that means is a curvature of the spine. And this is quite remarkable because this is only 4 weeks on the X39 plus Icewave, which is one of the other patches that David Schmidt invented before the X39. But 4 weeks, you can see that spine already straightening out. And again, that is very quick, I would say, 4 weeks. And here we have another one on the left-hand side. So this is something, I know I said we weren't going to talk about diseases, but this is given a name of vitiligo, where there is a depigmentation of certain areas of the skin. So there's a loss of melanin, that pigment that we see that gives us color. And this woman actually, she said that she had tried everything for her vitiligo and nothing had worked for her. But then on the right-hand side, you can see she tried the X39 and this is what happened. And you can see that nice pink pigment and the color coming back into her back. And on the right-hand side here, we have, this is a wound. This is a surgical wound. It looks like from a knee replacement. And I am very familiar with this because my entire career has been in the operating room, seeing wounds and patients coming back for reoperations. So I know very well how quickly wounds can heal and what they look like. And this is extremely fast. This was only 2 days. And you can see from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And whether you understand that or not, even from a cut on your skin, you know how quickly or how slowly your wounds can heal. This is very fast. I think the next one we were going to talk about, okay, was this is called a functional, it's a topography map, but it's a functional EEG of a woman's brain. So you don't have to know the details here. I'll just walk you through. On the left-hand side where session 1 is, the woman was not wearing the X39. So it was before the X39. Session 2 is in the middle. So after 3 weeks of being on the X39. And session 3 on the right-hand side was after 6 weeks of being on the X39. Now, this is an image of the brain, and what it has to show is inflammation as well as coherence. So on the left, the red shows a lot of inflammation. So red equals inflammation, and there isn't a lot of coherence, which is when the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain are communicating well, which is exactly what we want. There isn't a lot of that, and that is exhibited by the green color. So there really isn't much of the green color there. Now with session 2, 3 weeks on the X39, you can see there is no more red, so there is no more inflammation. There is a little bit more green and that light blue starting to show up. So a little bit of coherence is coming back. The dark blue is actually just low activity. So on the right-hand side with session 3, after 6 weeks on the X39, we can see still there is no inflammation. There's no red there. And there is more green coming in. So there's more coherence, more of the right side of the brain talking to the left side of the brain, and the body working in harmony from that. Next slide.
Oh. So I think at this point, we're going to have a couple of live testimonials. I'd love to be able to call on Diane Hunt to share your testimonial.
Hello. Yes. Like the ladies mentioned, I'm Diane Hunt, and I am the one that introduced the X39 to them because I was a nurse for 20 years, as Rachel mentioned. I worked in the post-open heart surgery, OR of open heart surgery, and then also the electrophysiology lab. So that is all about the heart, how it works, the electrical conduction. And so I just find this so fascinating listening to you guys talk. I'm always forever learning. And so for me, what was so profound about this is there's a few things. I got sick 4 years ago from whatever we want to say, virus or what, but something within my body just never fully recovered my lungs and heart. It was really my lungs. So I would be out walking, and you know yourself, like, you know how your baseline is. And like, I knew something was really wrong with my lungs because I used to run, I used to exercise pretty intense, and I couldn't even walk my dogs without getting very winded. And so for sure, I was scared. And then it was also throwing off the energy of my heart. I really felt a lot of palpitations. And so I am someone that is really into all the holistic things. And so I had a lot of different things, but nothing was working. And so I was praying for something to please come and help me. And at the same time, like the lady spoke about their parents, my dad was dealing with a lot of pain, plantar fasciitis, gout, sciatic. About 8 out of 10, he would live on a daily basis of pain. And so I saw this come into my inbox from a fellow nurse, and she was like, "Have you heard of this patch?" And I was so surprised because I feel like I'm very up on all the holistic things out there. And the fact that this company has been around for 20 years and I've not heard about this patch, I was like, wait, what? So I looked into it, of course, and I saw a few things that made me be like, heck yeah. One was that it reduces inflammation, it relieves pain. So that was huge for like my dad. I wanted it. And then also reverses your cardiac age by 8 years just by wearing it 6 months. So I was all in. I got the big package. I put patches on my entire family, my kids, myself, and my husband, and then my dad. And I said, just wear them. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just wear them. Literally, for me, I was the lucky one. Within 24 hours, I felt a dramatic increase of improvement in my lungs. So within probably 2 weeks of wearing the patch, I was back at Orange Theory. So I don't know, in Canada, I'm in the US, but it's one of these things where they do like the Tabata, like where you like run full out. And I just felt like a new woman. Like I got my lease on life back, because when you're used to living life like that, and then you can't, your vitality, your quality of life goes down really quickly. So to get that back to me was everything. I've never had another palpitation. And then just because those are so instrumental and huge for me, all the other things are like bonuses and perks. Like I had dry eye and floater, but those were like to me minute, but they were also very annoying. That went away. I also can definitely have whatever we want to label it, ADHD, but or brain fog, but that mental clarity, that focus, that production level for me has been phenomenal. I used to definitely, there was like the testimony about gray hairs. I have noticed a dramatic, like, I don't have a lot of grays, but a lot less than I had. And I would even get them in my eyebrows, none of that anymore. And then this is the big thing, my dad. So, like we say, you want to wear for as many months to decades. So if you're 60, you want to wear it at least 6 months to really give it the full power and potential before, because sometimes people quit before their magic. My dad, it took 4.5 months. And thankfully, he had me as his daughter, where I was like, how's it going, Dad? Day 1, day 30, day 60, And he's like, nothing yet. But if he quit before those 4.5 months, like he would have lost out so much of his life, because now the man that we had to help out of a chair is now playing racquetball with me. He's at the gym 6 days a week. He has zero pain. Like to me, that's everything. So my husband stopped snoring since the day, we were together. He was a snorer. And for me, that's so huge, because it was like I had to go to bed before he did. And we tried everything for him. He even had deviated septum surgery. Nothing helped but this patch. So when I say it works on everything, I could probably have another hour on testimonies, but everything, everyone, my kids have so many testimonies. But my biggest takeaway is to really give it time. This is not a one patch wonder for everybody, and just really see what it'll do for you. So thank you for joining. You're all worth $3.50 a day. We can't even get a cup of coffee or a bottled water these days without that. And so these patches are life-changing and life-saving for sure. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Diane. It's amazing. I love hearing those testimonials. And Brittany, if you could share your story, we'd love to hear from you too.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany. Rachel introduced these patches to us pretty quick after she heard about them. And I'm a mom and I've got two little kids, and one of them, unfortunately got a really bad concussion over a year ago now. And I've done everything that I knew to help heal his concussion. And then when Rachel started telling me about these patches, she's like, this might help. So I was like, I've got nothing to lose. His concussion symptoms were getting worse and worse. So it had been almost a year since his concussion, but he was getting headaches at first, maybe like once a month. And then the headaches ended up turning into migraines. And his migraines got so bad that he was throwing up, and they got closer and closer together where they were every once a month to every then the time span just got shorter and shorter. So it ended up being towards the end of his migraines, he was getting them every 5 to 7 days. And he's only 8 years old. He's a smaller kid. He doesn't have a lot of extra weight to lose. So I was getting really worried because they would make him physically throw up and he couldn't see light. And I've experienced migraines in the past, and I know how horrible and debilitating a migraine could be. And it was horrible to watch my child go through these migraines. And we, like everybody else here, that's been talking, are very holistic in our approach. We're healthy. We eat like organically, and I just was like, I don't know what else to do. So these patches came into our life really at the right timing. I started patching him on June 1st. And then I patched myself and my husband too. But with my little guy, that was the big, huge win for us. So I was skeptical. And then after 3 weeks of wearing the patch, he still hadn't had another migraine. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting. And time went on. And he, to this day, so it's been since June 1st, he still hasn't had a migraine. So that is miraculous, in my opinion. He has had a few minor headaches. Keep in mind, he is an active kid. He one time got kicked in the head while they were playing, and so he had a headache after that. So there's been circumstances where he's had headaches, but he has not thrown up once from a migraine since taking these patches or since using these patches. And so he's happy and I'm ecstatic because it was horrible to see. But even on the days between his migraines, you could almost see like a dimness in his eyes. And he would come up to me on the days between the migraines. He's like, Mom, I just don't feel good. I just don't feel good. And I was like, I really didn't know what to do anymore. So these patches were complete godsend for us. So that's our huge testimony in our house. But for me, just a few little things like my energy is through the roof, even on days when I don't get great sleep because I've got kids waking me up through the night or animals waking me up through the night. I still feel like a sustained energy. And I used to be like a huge coffee drinker, drink a cup in the morning and then a cup in the afternoon. And I've completely cut out my afternoon coffee. I'm almost down to no coffee at all. So that is huge for me because I was always feeling quite sluggish. And just ever since, I don't know if it was even before kids, I never felt like I was fully energized. So that's been a huge win for me. And then I also had chronically dry hands, like where my hands were just like flaky, like they had like little scales on them almost. And I just attributed it to washing dishes all the time and then living in a cooler climate. But even through summer, I'd have these really, really dry hands. And I will show you my hands are no longer dry. They're nice and supple. And so I'm happy about that. That was something I wasn't expecting. And then we're just really excited to see where this takes us to, because we're just 5 months now using the patches and loving the energy, loving that my son has his life back, especially at such a young age. And I do think because he was so little, he responded so quickly. So, and he doesn't wear them now every day. He'll go a few days without wearing them, and then we'll put one on again. So it's not like I don't think he has to wear it forever, but it was definitely for something that was to help his body get to a place where he could heal. And yeah, so I'm super thankful. So yeah, thank you guys. So thankful for Rachel for introducing these patches to us. And these beautiful women are really have been just such a light in my life.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Yeah, there's so many amazing, powerful testimonials about traumatic brain injury. And your son obviously is one in terms of, healing and repairing from his migraines. So love it. Thank you. Rachel, did you want to elaborate a little bit further on your mom and her health and how far she's come?
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I just briefly mentioned this at the beginning, but so my mom is 83 and she has many issues. Her heart was the biggest one for me. And there's a lot even with her heart, because she's got atrial fibrillation, which is a rhythm disturbance. She's got heart failure. And it was getting to the point where when we would go for walks, it was literally so painful because we'd have to stop. Like I just felt like I wasn't even walking anywhere because she had to catch her breath all the time. She's got valvular dysfunction, sort of problems with her valves. She's also got sleep apnea, which she uses a CPAP machine for. She's metabolically unhealthy. She's overweight. She's got a low thyroid. And so, anyways, the biggest one was her heart because her doctor was saying that he was now wanting to consider working her up for heart surgery. So the timing was just fantastic. So we got her on the patches. I expected, like I was talking about earlier, that we need to have patience because we don't get sick overnight. This was probably 70 years in the making, right? So within 2 weeks, I was actually shocked because, again, it was painful at the speed that we were walking for myself. I noticed her starting to walk faster, and she was actually talking to me while she was walking. And I had to stop her to tell her, to ask her to pay attention, the fact that she's actually talking to me while walking on an incline as well, which is a really, really big deal. Like I've never seen that. I've never seen that kind of recovery with heart patients. I'm sure, Diane, you haven't either. The other thing that we were not expecting at all either was 3 weeks after being on the patches, she came over to my house with some lab work because she was getting lab work because of her heart. They were just following one of the markers and something was not within range. And she asked me to look at it. And of course, you don't want to be your family's doctor because that never works out well. So I told her to go to her own doctor, but I was pretty sure he was going to lower her thyroid medication. And sure enough, he has lowered her thyroid medication. So that was 3 weeks after being on the patches. We're now 5 months, and he's lowered it one more time. She's still on it. But the other thing was, I just wanted to bring up how within the last week, she's had a lot of stress and she actually started to get sick. And normally when she gets sick, she is out. She has absolutely zero energy to do anything. And she has continued to come out walking. She still has her energy and her life about her. And she has said to me that she never feels like she ever recovers quickly from being sick. And she's actually feeling great. And the other thing was she went over to one of her friends' houses who the friend wasn't home yet, but she was talking to her friend's husband who just took one look at her and said, what are you doing? There's something about you. You've got this energy, this life about you that he hadn't seen before. And she said, well, I'm on these patches. And he just said, I don't even want to know anymore. Just get me them. I just have to start on them. So anyways, he started on them and he was 85 and he was wanting them. Again, this goes to the body knows what to do first. He was wanting them for his headaches because he was having headaches that nothing was working with. And so he started the patches and she went to visit a couple months later. He was saying how his headaches went away at first, kind of came back. He wasn't sure. He was kind of going on and on about his headaches. And then the friend came home because the friend wasn't home yet. And her friend said to him, what did you tell her about your eyes? And he was like, no, I didn't really say anything about my eyes. And so my mom asked, what's going on with your eyes? And he said, well, I no longer need my reading glasses. So that was only 2 months after wearing these patches. So there's a lot of other stories. I started sharing because I was so excited about the science behind it, because there's nothing going to the body. There's no contraindications. There's no medication interactions. There's literally no downside. So I started sharing with people that I knew, friends and acquaintances that had problems. And one of them was, not knowing what's going to happen because we had literally just started them. But, most people have tried so many things and have trouble either with moving the needle at all or maintaining any change or any benefit. So people are really hungry, and they're hungry for something that's going to work. So a friend of mine had sciatica for 5 years. She put on the patches, and within 3 hours, she had no more pain. And that's been sustained now for, I guess it's probably been about 4 months. This elderly couple that are neighbors of mine, they're in their 70s and 80s, and the husband had 3 different types of cancer on chemotherapy. It was affecting his heart, his skin. He was on prednisone. He had a patella fracture. He had a whole bunch of issues. So I asked if they were interested in trying an alternative type of therapy. They were. I put one of the pain patches on his knee. The pain went away immediately. He was able to do stairs up and down his house. He couldn't even do the 2 front stairs of my porch. And then I ran into them 9 days later, and lo and behold, they said his trigeminal neuralgia was gone, which I didn't even know he had. So this pain syndrome in his face where he had difficulty brushing his teeth because the pain was so bad every time he would brush his teeth, it was triggered, and he just went for days sometimes without brushing his teeth. That was completely gone after 9 days. So there's a lot more stories that, I don't want to take up the time with, but we can either get back to the presentation, or Larry, actually, I'm just looking, maybe Larry can share. Larry hasn't shared before, and he's got a great testimonial. So if everyone's okay to listen to Larry's testimonial. Thank you, Larry.
You're on mute, Larry. There we go.
Hi, I'm a beginner to this.
Welcome.
I'm Larry. Thanks. I'm Larry from Kamloops, and Rachel thankfully introduced me to X39 and my wife first in May of this year, and we started using it at that point. I'd had about 3 or 4 years of illness. Came on in 2021. At that time, I'd been extremely fit for my age. Did a lot of racing, mountain bike racing. For example, I did a race. It was an 8-hour-long mountain bike race here in Kamloops, and I rode it quite comfortably, and I finished strong. That was where my health and fitness was at that time. Since then, it's declined, and there was a period there where, for me to exercise, I'd need to use prednisone and naproxen just to exercise, with an extremely delayed recovery. And people talk about floaters in their eyes and different things floating around. I had that. Tinnitus came on, be so loud I would have difficulty listening in a conversation, joint pain, weakness, etc. So I lived with that, and it improved a little bit, but miraculously, almost in June, I started wearing this patch, and I was the one patch wonder, and I knew instantly that there was something amazing in these patches. Extremely easy to use, just put it on, and then the benefits came along. And so some of the things I noticed right away were my eyesight improving. I'm still working on needing glasses, but the floaters and the inability to focus, and that's all gone. The tinnitus is reduced drastically, and sometimes I don't even notice that I have it anymore. But last October, I fell off my mountain bike and I dislocated my shoulder, and at my age, it was extremely slow to heal. And even this spring, I would find that if I rolled over, if I tried to pick up something, it would be extremely painful. It'd take a little while to recover. Since then, my shoulder is healed. And because I continue to mountain bike, I fell off my mountain bike again last week, and I smashed a rib. And if you've ever had a smashed rib, you know how painful it can be. I'm just on a call right now. So within 3 days, I went from the point where if I had a cough or a sneeze, where you just have to brace yourself, it no longer hurts. And I think I'm at day 5 right now, and the damaged, bruised rib is healed. I also smashed my fingernail the other day with a hammer, and oftentimes it sounds like I'm really accident prone, but that's just the way it is. I smashed my finger and I thought I was going to use the fingernail, but I just have a little bit of color discoloration in there now. So these are just some of the effects. But because I was training and athletic, I use things like a heart rate monitor. I measure heart rate variability. I measure power output when I'm training. And so I keep track of all of these things. And what was quite troubling to me is that my heart rate was so elevated. What I was able to do, the amount of output I could do at, say, 150 beats per minute, my heart would sometimes race up to 200 beats per minute. And I knew that I had to stop exercising at that point. So these are the most amazing things that have happened to me recently. And I'm a little unprepared to talk about this right now. I would have made a list, and I do keep a little sort of a diary going because there has been so many benefits that I've noticed. And I honestly believe what's happening is my body is rebuilding itself, the organs, the skin, my connective tissue. It feels to me that I'm in a younger body. Excuse me. I'm in a younger body, and I'm at. I want to continue to use the X39 because I know that the benefits are real, and I notice them every day. So I'm happy to have shared that story. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Larry. That is powerful. That's amazing. And yes, it's super important. I think for anyone that starts this there is a health tracker that we provide to people because there's little things that you may not even notice at first. But when you track some of your ailments or some of the symptoms you're experiencing, and then you see over time things that you are no longer suffering with, it's super powerful. So thank you so much for that share. Marcia has a question. I believe that she's left the Zoom call, but she's wanting to know about neuropathy and if there's any kind of testimonials we're able to provide on this call. Diane or Rachel, if you have anything that you can comment on specifically about neuropathy.
Well, I think there are, at least on the website as well, there are a lot of testimonials there. But for example, the woman, I mean, this has to do with pain, but with sciatica, right? There's a lot of people who have sciatica that the pain disappears. That one that I just mentioned about that older couple with trigeminal neuralgia, that's a type of neuropathy. There's a lot of people who have diabetes, who have sensation loss, who recover that sensation, that sensory loss. And there is one testimonial that I know of personally of I think I talked about this once before, about a patient with MS, a person with MS, multiple sclerosis, who was she had no sensation in her hands to the point where she could put her hand in a pot of boiling water and she wouldn't notice that it was hot. So they had to kind of outfit her home in terms of the thermostat and the water temperatures. And within 2 months of using the X39 patches, she grabbed a potato from the microwave and threw it across the room because she felt that it was hot. So those are just a few things that I know of. So I don't know if there's anything that you have heard, Diane, specifically.
Yes, I definitely have personal testimonies with people I've enrolled, like Rachel said, with diabetic neuropathy, where they were basically at that point of close to having amputation on their toes, where they were having such bad circulation. And within like 2 months of the X39, they have circulation back, feeling. Even people that had, I know it's not neuropathy, but amputations. So I just, like Larry was even talking about, like, it is rebuilding. And so I just believe like the collagen, all that this does, every part of the body, that it heals, right? Like your body starts healing, regenerating. When we regenerate nerves, everything. So yeah, absolutely. So many testimonies. Like Rachel said, you could just go onto the This Is It team, or This Is It info under testimonies, and you'll find stuff on neuropathy. It's probably going to be under nerves because they don't want to put any label of disease like diabetes or anything like that. So you just have to get a little creative what it might be under.
That's great. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I think actually Rachel's going to touch on that, but there is an amazing website to check out. This is at info.com where you can search up testimonials. Also, if you can ask the person that invited you on the call to invite you to the Facebook group called Patching with Purpose. So I put that in the comments because that's another place that you can, I mean, there's many different Facebook groups that you can search up testimonials. But anyway, those are two resources that you can check out. So I'm going to share the screen again, Rachel. And we'll get back into the formal part of the presentation. Here we go.
All right, so going back to the inventor now, thanks, Beth, sorry. The inventor of the company, David Schmidt, he is really half the reason that I am so invested in this company. He is an incredible human being. All you have to do is listen to any of his talks and you can feel and you understand and know the integrity and the character and where his values are. And he just really has a heart for helping people and humanity. And so on top of that, he's brilliant. So he's a scientist, inventor, founder of and CEO of the company, which is 20 years old. And there is a 20-year convention this weekend that Diane and I are actually heading to. So we'll have some good information after that. So this man has over 150 patents, and there are over 80 clinical trials done on the patches. Now, he started out actually not thinking he was going to be bringing this type of technology to the public, but he started out with a contract with the Department of Defense and the government to make emergency equipment for the government, or for the Navy SEALs, for the Army. And what he did was, they actually didn't think that he'd be able to do it, but he made some oxygen reserve tank, I think, for the Navy SEALs and the submarine that lasted a lot longer than anyone thought could be done. And so then they gave him a contract to create something for the Navy SEALs to help them with maintaining their energy and their stamina and being alert and awake for these 30-hour missions without having to rely on uppers or anything that's addictive that can cause problems as well. And so that's where the idea of these patches and the creation of using the light energy came from. And the company, he then created a whole bunch of different patches, different ones that increase different peptides, and then decided, I believe it was in 2012, to head down the longevity pathway. And it took him 10 years to create and have the X39 come to market. And as soon as that was released, the company went from grossing 20 million a year to over 600 million a year. And I think it's on track for even more than that this year. So for those of you that like to do your own research, and I would always encourage you to absolutely do that, there is a patent, and you can see this patent, and I'll list where you can see this patent afterwards, but it's a 22-page patent, I believe. And you can read all about it, but really it can be summarized in this one sentence that is written on the slide here. And it is that it is the embodiments as a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, energy improvements, and elevation of antioxidants. Now, this patent, along with all of the studies that he has done on the patches, as well as testimonials, can be found on the website, as Beth said earlier, listed here, called thisisitinfo.com. So you can find everything on that website. Next slide, please. So results that are, I think, Beth, you're usually...
Yeah, so thank you so much, Rachel. That's great. And so yes, the thisisitinfo.com website is a great resource. It's got a lot of videos from David Schmidt himself, also doctors in talking about the Lifewave patch. It's got the case studies, the testimonials. So when we go back to talking about the benefits, though, it's important to remember that these benefits go far beyond the company, go far beyond the surface. So we all know that, yes, aging gracefully, fewer wrinkles, more energy, less brain fog are wonderful, but think about the bigger picture, right? What if you could reduce the pain and inflammation, like Larry here, so significantly that you no longer struggle with that chronic pain? Maybe that means returning to a job that you had to quit because of the pain you were in. Perhaps it's even being able to play with activities, enjoy activities with your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, that you have missed out on. Maybe it's actually achieving financial freedom, as this company is the #1 momentum company in the industry of direct sales. So that in fact, by simply sharing this patch with others, can allow you to live life with more ease, whether that's paying for your patches, having your patches paid for, covering an extra bill, treating yourself to a well-deserved vacation. This is all possible with the power of the patch. So let me share with you 3 ways you can get started. And you can choose the path that works best for you. So the prices are in US dollars. And so for a month's worth of patches, it's 30 patches we call a sleeve. So first off, you can enroll as a retail customer where you simply pay for your order, you pay the retail price, no strings attached. However, if you'd like to benefit from the wholesale pricing, you have 2 additional options. So you can sign up as a preferred customer or as a brand partner. And as a brand partner, not only do you unlock wholesale pricing, but you also secure a spot on the team and you can leverage the incredible momentum that this company is experiencing without additional cost. There's no additional investment or commitment. And there are several enrollment kits available tailored to meet your goals. So, and what we often see is that people begin to experience success, right? And so the products, they speak for themselves, people become a walking billboard. And so they naturally and organically share them with other people. Who wouldn't want to share Larry's testimonial, right? And so sometimes people build a business and they do this on a full-time basis. Oh, I just want to see. Okay, yes, so this is super important. So I mentioned it in the comments that for those of you that are on the call, those of you that are watching the call on the replay, it really, an important reminder to reach out to the person that invited you to the call. They will be best to guide you through the ordering process, help you to ensure that you are getting the best price available. They can answer any questions you have. And so the question for you is, are you ready to become the best version of yourself? So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, open it up for questions. I know that we have gone through some questions in the comments so far, but if there's any other additional questions, I'd love for you you can unmute, you can type it in the comments, whatever you feel comfortable with, but we love when, people ask questions and we can engage with you and you can learn more about it. I don't know if there's any questions in the comments that we didn't hit on yet. Anything outstanding? I think we covered everything there. But anyone feel free to unmute themselves if you have any outstanding questions. I guess we were pretty clear.
I have a
Mikkel?
question.
Yeah, great. Go for it. Thanks.
So when promoting Lifewave and stuff, because I am a brand partner, can I do that on Facebook and also put that it is the X39 patch that I'm promoting, or are you not allowed to do that? Because all of the legal stuff reading through that was pretty confusing. So I just want to know what I'm allowed to do legally.
Good question. Good question. To be honest, I haven't been too careful. I don't know. I have been fairly open with what I am promoting.
Mhm.
I don't know. Does anyone have any?
I've seen other people's posts using X39, but what I've also been told by other people is kind of the less you say, the better to get people to then reach out to you. So
I agree.
if you don't use that term and just say patch, then people have to say, well, what is this?
Right, right. Is there any better way to promote it to get people interested? Like I try to do like pain points and stuff with mine, which I actually just I'm post-surgery for a week now from a hysterectomy, and I've been doing the X39 patch, and I'm no drugs, no pain. My healing is extremely awesome. Not really having any side effects or anything from that, which, you know, it can take a long time for a hysterectomy and you to heal. So, it's been kind of nice not to have to worry about, you know, the added pain and the added drugs because of that. So I don't know if I can just use maybe some past experience with this. I've only been on it a little over a month and just kind of do it that way. Because I actually initially started this because of my migraines. I was getting 3 to 5 of them a week. And now I get one, maybe once a week to every 2 weeks. So
Amazing. I honestly think that your own personal testimonials are the most powerful thing that you can share
okay.
on social media, because so while we are not claiming that this treats, prevents, cures,
Right.
specific diseases, this is your own testimonial, right?
Mhm.
After using this patch, this is what you no longer suffer from, or yeah, talk about what you suffered from before and what you have healed from.
Right.
Yeah,
I say something there.
yeah, of
The
course.
only thing that you don't want to do on social media, and it is because the company can have great scrutiny from different three-letter agencies. You don't want to say that it can cure. You want to
Right.
say this worked for me. However, it's
Mhm.
not medical advice. And that's why it's best to just say patch, because then you're not putting the company at any sort of compromise, even though it does heal a lot of people, a lot of things. Everybody's individual body is so different. So not saying exactly what it is that you're using, just use the word patch. It will be better. And you're sticking to the I can't think of the word right now. Do you know what I'm thinking, Rachel? The
Compliant?
Yeah, compliant. Thank you. Sticking to the compliant
I like that
C.
word these days, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I know, I hear you. But yes, that I think that's something it's just don't say it cured, but it helped.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
And
And I'm
even
not
I
cured
think,
by no means.
yeah,
but your surgical, like having surgery and what you've experienced, that's huge because
Yeah.
so many people have
yes.
surgery and they're on all different sorts of medication after. So that would be a really, really good one.
Yeah. Is there any way that I could like friend one of you on Facebook or all of
Of
you and
course.
then maybe just throw my post to you to kind of get some critique on it and whether or not you think it's a good thing or if I should change it up a little bit or, you
Of
know.
course. Yes, yes. And we hope to inspire other people too. Like I think even just taking even one of our tests, like a lot of my builders are wondering, okay, can I take that and use it? Of course. And I think the more that we're sharing our powerful testimonials, or if you want to you know, ask us our feedback in terms of posting, that's what we're here for too. So
Mhm.
anything like that, anything where we can you know, come together and connect that way is super powerful. So yes, we'd love to do that.
Awesome.
Amazing. Anyone else have any questions? Great. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. And if you're watching the recording, thank you for taking the time to check out the recording. Again, reach out to the person that invited you on the call. They can help you sign up. They can help answer any questions you might have. And I wish you all a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all for coming, sharing your time with us.
Thank you.